Hey everyone, this is Mike with Lovey's Fat Life, and our family just got back from Alaska, and we're going to go over 10 things. Some of these are pretty obvious, but 10 things that are different for an Alaska cruise versus a Caribbean cruise. And again, some of these are very obvious, but some of these are some things that once we were out there in Alaska, we were like, whoa, this is completely different than something that we've done before in the Caribbean. So let's talk about the differences in the cruise 10 items that is different. Let's go. So number one is pretty obvious, but the weather and the scenery. So in the Caribbean, it's usually beaches, no matter what time of year it is, it's sand and beaches, sun most of the time. It can rain in the Caribbean late in the evenings, and sometimes you go to a port and it rains all day. That's only happened to us once on almost 20 cruises. But the scenery in Alaska is completely different. It rains a lot of time. Now, we were very blessed, and the cruise we went on, it didn't rain, maybe just a little mist one day, but most of the time it didn't rain the whole time. And they told us that was very unseasonable and very, very rare. So that's one thing to think. It does rain a lot in Alaska. It's kind of dreary looking, dark looking. Sometimes you'll get a sunny day, but overall, the scenery also is very different. You're going to see mountains, and you'll see, of course, the ocean as well. But Alaska, you're going to see the mountains, maybe some snow on top of the mountains, a lot of countryside. Whereas in the Caribbean, you're seeing beaches, and of course, there's mountains as well there too. But just totally different vibe, and that's probably the reason you're going to Alaska. Number two on this list is the cruise atmosphere. The cruise atmosphere on a Caribbean cruise is like party and music going on, and drinks are flowing. Usually, if you're an adult, kids are going down water slides or some kind of activity there. Alaska is a little bit different. It's more laid back, in my opinion. They try to do things in the common areas, and they have entertainment there as well. It's just a totally different vibe, more of a laid back vibe. Now you can go to the bars and have a good time, joke around, go to the casino, and those are the same as they are on a Caribbean cruise. But it's definitely a different vibe and more laid back on an Alaska cruise. All right. Number three for us is excursion and activities. Now it's going to be totally different. On the Caribbean cruise, you're going to the beaches a lot of times, or you're going and seeing the culture in those areas on those islands in the Caribbean. Here in Alaska, you're seeing the indigenous people that live there, which is the same with the Caribbean, but it's a totally different vibe. The activities are different. Like you may be going on a salmon bake, or I want to say salmon. Everybody says you don't pronounce the L, Mike. Here in the area I live in, yeah, we do. But okay, I'm wrong about that. But just the activities overall, the excursions are different. Like you may be going in the mountains and train rides and stuff like that in Alaska, whereas in the Caribbean, you can do train rides and country rides, but you're just seeing things totally different. You may see a rainforest, and Alaska is really a rainforest too in the Caribbean, but it's just a totally different excursion. And that kind of goes into number four in the cost. The cost of an Alaskan cruise is a lot more money. Now, you may get a great deal in a casino deal through somebody like Carnival or someone or Royal, and really get a good deal on an Alaska cruise. But overall, it cost us probably another 50% more than what we would pay for a Caribbean cruise. And the excursions are very expensive in Alaska. Also, the food is very expensive in Alaska compared to the Caribbean. So your overall cost is going to be a lot more money on Alaska. And listen, we're not trying to tell you not to do it, because we would go again in a heartbeat, and we're probably going to go ahead and plan a second trip to Alaska very soon. But it is more expensive to go to Alaska, and on everything. Things you buy there in the shops, food, excursions, a lot more money. Now, the next one is a little bit different, but it's the passenger demographics. A lot of times when you go to Alaska, there's less kids, number one, which if you like that, that's great. Also, to be honest with you, it's an older demographic. Nothing wrong with that. But it is an older crowd, maybe a little bit more mature, I hate to use that word, mature crowd, but if you're talking about age, yes, I fall in that category at 54 years old. It's just an older crowd, a different vibe. Nothing wrong with that, but just you need to know that ahead of time. So if you got kids and you're going, you think there's going to be a bunch of kids in the area to play and stuff like that with, it's usually not that way. On the cruise we were on, we saw very few kids on the cruise ship at all. Now, the next one is cruise season. Usually with a Caribbean cruise, you can cruise year round. I mean, there's certain times of the year you want to go more than other. And then you got the whole Jason thing, July, August, September, October, November is hurricane season with the Caribbean. But in Alaska, you're kind of just really May through September are the most popular. Sometimes you get into October, but really your season is only 4 or 5 months compared to the Caribbean is year round. Now, you do have to watch out, and it can happen. Tsunamis happen out towards the Alaska area, and that just happened a couple of weeks ago, but it's very rare for that. But the hurricanes are very common in the Caribbean, and the ships are trying to avoid all that. That's another thing to think about depending on where you go out of. In Alaska, if you're going out towards California, it can be rougher seas on the Pacific Ocean. But that varies with each ship and the time of the year, and that can even happen in the Caribbean with possible tropical storms and hurricanes coming. So the next one is the port of calls. So in the Caribbean, you have a ton of places to visit that have kind of been around for a long time. I mean, they've been around for a long time in Alaska as well, but the port of calls is going to be more limited in Alaska. And you also have the inside and outside passage, which most cruise, that you base your cruise on if you want to go inside or outside passage in Alaska. But they're going to be different, a lot more. I think overall, in all honesty, it feels like there's more walking in Alaska. And the port of calls are different. They're more quaint and kind of like little small towns in Alaska. They're not huge cities, which I know there's not huge cities in the Caribbean unless you hit something like, Mexico, as far as like Cozumel or something like that. Or you can hit San Juan, some of the bigger cities, but it's just different. The port of calls are going to be different. What you have there with wildlife and stuff like that is going to be different as well on what you're seeing and some of the excursions. Clothes is a big one. So in the Caribbean, you're going to take more bathing suits, lighter clothes. You're wearing shorts and t-shirts a lot more. Your overall luggage may weigh less. You may have to you take less luggage in the Caribbean. In Alaska, you're going to be bringing pants and flannel shirts and t-shirts to go underneath that, long sleeve t-shirts. Rain jackets, umbrellas, which, ponchos, which you probably take out in the Caribbean as well. But your overall, clothes is going to be quite a bit different. You may have to take, shoes that can handle water, or waterproof shoes in Alaska, because you're going to be, maybe hiking or going down a trail, and it rains a lot, like I said earlier. So that's going to be a huge difference on your clothing. It also may cost you more money whenever you're booking, your cruise, because you got to take more luggage with you. We took one more than we normally take suitcase when we went to Alaska, because we had, bigger clothes. There's a big difference in a pair of jeans for my size and a pair of shorts on my size. So definitely going to have to change what you take. Plus, you may take like binoculars and things like that, which bigger cameras with bigger, longer lenses and stuff on it than what you would in Caribbean. All right, here's a big one: nature and wildlife. In the Caribbean, you may go snorkeling, you may go diving. You're going to see, probably, you might see some sharks, but you may see some whales, not very often. And you're going to see some things like, marine life. Whereas in the, and you'll see a lot of birds and iguanas and things like that, but the wildlife is totally different in Alaska. It's whales and eagles and seals, bears, mountain goats. I mean, the nature is totally different, which that's what I love about Alaska. So just a reminder, that's going to be completely different as well. And I think that's actually a plus. And one of the biggest things, and the last on our list, number 10, the long daylight hours. In Alaska, man, you get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, it's daylight, or, it's light. When you go to bed, It's light. So it's very long days. It may mess you up if you have a balcony and leave your balcony curtain open. Um, it can mess with you. And then if you're from the East Coast, now listen, there's a lot of people on the West Coast go out on these Alaskan cruises as well. But if you're on the East Coast, the 3, 4, 5 hour difference in time can make a huge difference in how you eat, how you drink, how you get up. It can make a huge difference overall. Another thing is in Alaska, you're there in the ports longer at night, so longer in the day. So whenever you get back onto the ship, it may be past your normal dinner time. So you're having to hit a buffet versus the main dining rooms. Just things like that are a huge difference. The long daylight is good though in Alaska because it gives you more time to visit and do things. Whereas like if you're in the Caribbean, certain times of year, it may get dark sooner, like in the wintertime versus, in the summertime, still 8, 9 o'clock at night or a little bit later. But, in Alaska at 11 o'clock, it's still somewhat a little bit, it's not completely bright like 12, 1 o'clock, but there's still a lot of daylight still there. So, hey, those are 10 things real quick I wanted to bring up to you guys, to let you think about. We absolutely loved Alaska. We would definitely do Alaska again. We love the Caribbean as well. Another bonus one is the different types of food in Alaska. And you get this also in the Caribbean, but you got a lot of like crab and salmon to eat and things like that, which you can eat that in the Caribbean as well. And they have their different foods in the Caribbean, but love the Alaska king crab and the food you get there as well. So definitely try it out. All right. Thank you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe to Lovey's Fat Life. Check us out on Facebook as well. We got a cruise coming up here in a couple months, going back to the Eastern Caribbean on a Celebrity Apex, and we can't wait to try out that. But you guys have a good one. Thanks. Bye.